Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-002 Human Resource Management for MBA program. Presenting Block 2 Sourcing of Human Resources, Unit-4 Human Resource Planning. After completing this unit, you should be able to understand nature and concept of human resource planning, objectives of human resource planning, factors affecting human resource planning, process of human resource planning, and methods of forecasting and supply of human resources. Introduction. Human resource planning is the most important HR function in an organization. This is the first step after sourcing human resources in an organization. It focuses on ensuring adequate supply of human resource, quality of human resources, and effective utilization of human resources. Human resource planning is concerned with forecasting and projecting the requirement of human resource in the organization. This unit shall cover the process of human resource planning and the methods of forecasting and supply of human resources. What is human resource planning? Human resource planning may be defined as a strategy for acquisition, utilization, development, and retention of the human resources of an enterprise. The objective is to provide right human resources for the right work and optimum utilization of the existing human resources. Human resource planning exists as a part of the planning process of business. This is the activity of the management which is aimed at coordinating requirements for and the availability of different types of employers. The major activities of human resource planning include forecasting, that is future requirements, inventorying, that is present strength, anticipating, that is comparison of present and future requirements, and planning, that is necessary program to meet future requirements. Objectives, benefits, and need of human resource planning. The objectives of human resource planning are: Number 1. Assessing manpower needs for future and making plans for recruitment and selection. Number 2. Assessing skill requirement in future for the organization. Number 3. Determining training and the development needs of the organization. Number 4. Anticipating surplus or shortage of staff and avoiding unnecessary detentions or dismissals. Number 5. Controlling wage and salary cost. Number 6. Ensuring optimum use of human resources in the organization. Number 7. Helping the organization to cope with the technological development and modernization. Number 8. Ensuring career planning of every employee of the organization and making succession programs. And number 9. Ensuring higher labor productivity. Benefits of human resource planning. Proper human resource planning results into a number of benefits. Some of them are: Number 1. Create a reservoir of talent. Number 2. Preparation for future HR needs. Number 3. Promote employees in a systematic manner. Number 4. Provide basis for HRD. And number 5. Help in career and succession planning. Need for human resource planning at macro level. Major reasons for the emphasis on human resource planning at macro level include: Number 1. Employment-unemployment situation. Though in general the number of educated unemployed is on the rise, there is acute shortage for a variety of skills. This emphasizes the need for more effective recruitment and retaining people. Number 2. Technological changes. The myriad changes in production technologies, marketing methods, and management techniques have been extensive and rapid. Their effect has been profound on job contents and job context. These changes cause problems relating to redundancies, retaining, and redeployment. All these suggest the need to plan manpower needs intensively and systematically. Number 3. Organizational changes. In the turbulent environment marked by cyclical fluctuations and discontinuities, the nature and pace of changes in organizational environment, activities, and structures affect manpower requirements and require strategic considerations. Number 4. Demographic changes. The changing profile of the workforce in terms of age, sex, literacy, technical inputs, and social background have implications for human resource planning. Number 5. Skill shortages. Unemployment does not mean that the labor market is a buyer's market. Organizations have generally become more complex and require a wide range of specialist skills that are rare and scarce. Problems arise when such employees leave. Number 6. Governmental influences. Government control and changes in legislation with regard to affirmative action for disadvantaged groups, working conditions and hours of work, restrictions on women and child employment, casual and contract labor, etc. have stimulated the organizations to become involved in systematic human resource planning. Number 7. Legislative controls. The days of executive fiat and hire and fire policies are gone. Now legislation makes it difficult to reduce the size of an organization quickly and cheaply. It is easy to increase but difficult to shed the fat in terms of the numbers employed because of recent changes in labor law relating to layoffs and closures. Those responsible for managing manpower must look far ahead and thus attempt to foresee manpower problems. Number 8. Impact of pressure groups. Pressure groups such as unions, politicians, and persons displaced from land by location of giant enterprises have been raising contradictory pressures on enterprise management, such as internal recruitment and promotions, preference to employees' children, displaced persons, sons of the soil, etc. Number 9. Systems concept. The spread of systems thinking and the advent of the macro computer as part of the ongoing revolution in information technology, which emphasizes planning and newer ways of handling voluminous personnel records. Number 10. Lead time. The long lead time is necessary in the selection process and for training and deployment of the employee to handle new knowledge and skills successfully. Determinants of human resource planning. The function of human resource planning is dependent on various factors. These include both external and internal factors of an organization. These factors can be considered as determinants of human resource planning. External factors. Number 1. Government policies. Policies of the government like labor policy, industrial relations policy, policy towards reserving certain jobs for different communities and sons of the soil, etc. affect the human resource planning. Number 2. Levels of economic development. Level of economic development determines the level of human resource development in the country and thereby the supply of human resources in future in the country. Number 3. Business environment. External business environmental factors influences the volume and mix of production and thereby the future demand for human resources. Number 4. Level of technology. Level of technology determines the kind of human resources required. Number 5. International factors. International factors like the demand for the resources and supply of human resources in various countries. Internal factors. Number 1. Company policies and strategies. Companies' policies and strategies relating to expansion, diversification, alliances, etc. determines the human resource demand in terms of quality and quantity. Number 2. Human resource policies. Human resources policies of the company regarding quality of human resource, compensation level, quality of work life, etc. influences human resource plan. Number 3. Job analysis. Fundamentally, human resource plan is based on job analysis. Job description and job specification determines the kind of employees required. And number 4. Time horizons. Companies with stable competitive environment can plan for the long run, whereas the firms with unstable competitive environment can plan for only short-term range. Levels of human resource planning. Human resource planning is carried out at the different levels such as national, sectoral, industry and unit. National level. The central government plans for human resources at the national level. It forecasts the demand for and supply of human resources as a whole. For example, the Government of India specifies the objectives of human resource planning in successive 5-year plans. Sectoral levels. Central and state governments formulate human resource plannings for different sectors. For example, industrial sector, agricultural sector, etc. Industry level. Human resource planning for specific industries are prepared by the particular industries. Unit level. Human resource planning for a particular department or sector of an industry is prepared at this level. It again includes certain levels, which are plant level, department level, and divisional level. Process of human resource planning. The process of human resource planning is entirely based on the corporate plans and objectives. Human resource planning is a continuous process of review, control, and assessment. The human resource process focuses on certain steps. They are: Number 1. A talent inventory to assess current human resources and to analyze how they can be used currently. Number 2. An HR forecast to predict future HR requirements, skills required and labor supply. Number 3. Action plans to enlarge the pool of people qualified to fill the vacancies through various methods. And number 4. Review and monitoring to provide feedback on the overall effectiveness of human resource planning. The major stages of human resource planning are: Number 1. Analyzing operational plans. It consists of certain sub-stages, which are: Number 1. Objectives and strategic plans of the company are analyzed. Number 2. Plans concerning technological, finance, production are analyzed and human resource planning is prepared keeping these in mind. And number 3. Future plans, goals and objectives of the company are also taken into account. The next major stage is human resource demand forecasting. HR demand forecasting mainly involves 3 sub-functions. They are: Number 1. Demand forecast. Process of estimating future quantity and quality of human resources required. Number 2. Manpower gaps. Depending upon the requirement, existing surplus human resources having desired skills are matched. If not found, then shortage is shown. Number 3. Supply forecast. Basing on the existing HR inventory and the demand forecast, the supply forecast of human resources is carried out in an organization. Human resource demand forecasting. There are 2 approaches to HR demand forecasting: quantitative and qualitative. When focusing on human resources needs, forecasting is primarily quantitative in nature and is carried out by highly trained specialists. Quantitative approaches to forecasting can employ statistical analytical models and at times by simple calculations anticipations future HR requirements. Organizational demands will ultimately determine which technique is to be used. Regardless of the method, forecasting plays a major role in human resource planning, however small or large the organization is. Quantitative approaches. Quantitative approaches to forecasting involve the use of statistical or mathematical techniques, trend analysis modeling, or multiple predictive techniques. These are some of the quantitative techniques used. Trend analysis. It forecasts employment requirements on the basis of some organizational index and is one of the most commonly used approaches for forecasting HR demand. There are certain steps that indicate the steps of trend analysis. First, select an appropriate business factor. This should be the best available predictor of human resources needs. Frequently, sales or value added, that is selling price minus cost of materials and supplies, is used as a predictor in trend analysis. Second, plot a historical trend of the business factor in relation to number of employees. The ratio of employees to the business factor will provide a labor productivity ratio. For example, sales per employee. Third, compare the productivity ratio for at least the past 5 years. Fourth, calculate human resources demands by dividing the business factor by the productivity ratio. And finally, project human resources demand out to the target year. Modeling or multiple predictive techniques. Several mathematical models with the aid of computers are also used to forecast HR needs. For example, optimization models, budget and planning analysis. Whereas trend analysis relies on a single factor, for example sales, to predict employment needs, the more advanced methods combine several factors such as interest rates, gross national product, disposable income and sales to predict employment levels. While the cost of developing these forecasting methods used to be quite high, advances in technology and computer software have made rather sophisticated forecasting more affordable to even small businesses. Qualitative approaches. In contrast to quantitative approaches, qualitative approaches to forecasting use less statistical tools. Expert forecast and Delphi technique are the most commonly used qualitative techniques. Expert forecast. In this method, managers estimate future human resource requirements, their experiences and judgments to good effect. Delphi technique. It attempts to decrease the subjectivity of forecast by involving a group of pre-selected individuals and soliciting and summarizing the judgments. Thus, a group decision-making process is invoked, which in turn requires a great deal of process orientation to enhance coordination and cooperation for satisfactory forecast. This method works best in situations where dynamic technological changes affect staffing levels. Ideally, human resource planning should use both quantitative and qualitative approaches while forecasting HR demand. Both the approaches complement each other, thus provide a wholesome forecast. Whatever technique one might utilize, but they need to be selected aptly and done systematically. HR planners many times go further and analyze the demand also on the basis of workforce analysis, workload analysis, and job analysis. Workforce analysis. It is to determine the rate of influx and outflow of employee. It is through this analysis one can calculate the labor turnover rate, absenteeism rate, etc. Qualitative methods go a long way in analyzing the internal flow created by promotions, transfers, etc. Workload analysis. It calculates the numbers of persons required for various jobs with reference to a planned output. This takes into consideration factors such as absenteeism and idle time, etc. Both quantitative and qualitative techniques are utilized for accurate results. Job analysis. Job analysis helps in finding out the abilities or skills required to do the jobs efficiently. A detailed study of jobs is usually made to identify the qualifications and experience required for them. Job analysis includes two things: job description and job specification. Job description thus is a factual statement of the duties and responsibilities of a specific job. It gives an indication of what is to be done, how it is to be done, and why it is to be done. Job specification provides information on the human attributes in terms of education, skills, aptitudes, and experience necessary to perform a job effectively. Human resource supply forecasting. After forecasting the demand of HR, the obvious step is to forecast supply of HR. Once an organization has forecast its future requirements for employees, it then goes on to the next search, that is from where it can fulfill its requirements. It therefore needs to determine if there are sufficient numbers and types of employees and how many are eligible for the requisite positions. Supply analysis thus involves planning for procurement, who, from where, how, and when. It scans the internal and external environment for the best fit candidate for the positions in demand. There are normally two sources of supply: internal and external. Internal sources. The most popular approach to be followed by all managers is to look within the organization. Until and unless the opening is not related to immensely diversified field of which the existing workforce might not possess requisite skills and the cost of training may be working out to be high, it is easier to go in for an internal source for recruitment, because it is cost saving in many ways to utilize what is already available to the organization. A profile of employee in terms of age, sex, education, training, experience, job level, past performance, and future potential is continuously maintained for use whenever required. Thus, if the requirements in terms of growth or diversification, internal movements of employees like transfers, promotions, retirement, etc. are determined in advance, then the data can be very useful. An internal supply analysis is done with number 1. Staffing tables or manning charts. They are pictorial representations of all organizational jobs along with the number of employees currently occupying those jobs and future employment requirements. Number 2. Markov analysis. It shows the percentage and actual number of employees who remain in each job from one year to the next, thus keeping track of the pattern of employee movements through various jobs. Thus, this analysis results in a composite matrix of supply. Number 3. Skill inventories. It lists each employee's education, past work experience, etc. Number 4. Replacement chart. It helps to derive the profile of job holders department-wise and reveals those who could be used as replacements whenever the need arises. External sources. It is only when the cost of procuring the labor from internal sources is more and also the present staff cannot be spared for the future assignment, the company prefers to the external sources. Therefore, to summarize, certain data should be available for a comprehensive supply forecast. That is, number 1, the skill base, potential trainability and current and potential productivity level of the existing workforce. Number 2, the structure of the existing workforce in terms of age distribution, skills, hours of work, rates of pay, and so on. Number 3, the possible changes in the productivity, size and structure of the workforce due to resignations and retirements, promotions and transfers, absenteeism and other external factors like economic and cultural which may induce such changes. And number 4, the availability of the relevant skills in the external labor market for present and future use. The HR planner will have to assess and monitor factors such as market value, image or preference of the existing labor for the company, motivation of the prospective candidates to join the company. Human resource gap analysis. The final stage is to balance out the demand and supply gap. The closer the gap, the better it is for the company when it actually goes into procuring. A comparison chart can be developed to find what is available and to what extent it can fulfill the demand forecast. This exercise helps us have an idea of the quantitative and qualitative gaps in the workforce. A reconciliation of demand and supply forecast will give the number of people to be recruited or made redundant as the case may be. In this process, a company always needs to keep repeating this step as it operates in a changing environment, and requiremental changes in product mix, union agreements and competitive action are some of the important things that need special attention. The human resource requirements thus identified are translated into a concrete HR plan backed up by detailed policies and other human resources instruments and strategies. For example, recruitment, selection, training, promotion, retirement, replacement, etc. Human Resource Plan Operator Formulation. Organizations operate in a changing environment. Consequently, human resource requirements also change continually. Change in product mix, union agreements, competitive actions are some of the important things that need special attention. The human resource requirements identified need to be translated into a concrete HR plan backed up by detailed policies, programs and strategies. That is, for recruitment, selection, training, promotion, retirement, replacement, etc. Responsibility for human resource planning. Top-level executives are responsible for HR planning as it is one of the important factors influencing the success of an organization. The plans are usually prepared by the Human Resource Department in consultation with other departments. The Human Resource Department offers consultation, counsel and advice to various divisional heads and coordinate the various HR estimates from time to time. Professor Gisler outlined the responsibilities of Human Resource Department in respect of HR planning as: Number 1. Assist and counsel operating managers to plan and set objectives. Number 2. Collect and summarize manpower data keeping long-run objectives and broad organizational interest in mind. Number 3. Monitor and measure performance against the plan and keep top management informed about it. Number 4. Provide proper research base for effective manpower and organizational planning. Problems in human resource planning process. The main problems in the process of human resource planning are: Number 1. Inaccuracy. Human resource planning is entirely dependent on the HR forecasting and supply, which cannot be a 100% accurate process. Number 2. Employee resistance. Employees and the unions feel that by human resource planning, their workload increases, so they resist the process. Number 3. Uncertainties. Labor absenteeism, labor turnover, seasonal employment, technological changes and market fluctuations are the uncertainties which human resource planning process might have to face. Number 4. Inefficient information system. In Indian industries, HRIS is not much strong. In the absence of reliable data, it is not possible to develop effective human resource planning. And number 5. Time and expense. Human resource planning is time-consuming and expensive exercise, so industries avoid. Guidelines for effective human resource planning. Few guidelines to improve effectiveness of human resource planning process are: Number 1. Tailor-made. Human resource planning should be balanced with corporate objectives. Number 2. Appropriate time. The period of human resource planning process should be appropriate to the needs and circumstances of an organization. Number 3. Adequate organization. Human resource planning process should be adequately or properly organized. Number 4. Top management support. Before starting the human resource planning process, the support and commitment of top management should be ensured. Number 5. Participation. Human resource planning will be successful if all in an organization are participating. Number 6. Information system. An adequate database should be developed for facilitating human resource planning. And number 7. Balanced focus. The quantity and quality should be stressed in a balanced manner. Now let's summarize the unit. To sum up, human resource planning is the process of determining the number and kind of human resources required in an organization for a specific time period in future. Human resource planning is important for an organization because of the changing scenario. Human resource planning is formulated at various levels. The main steps involved in it are analysis of organizational plans, demand forecasting, supply forecasting, and identifying manpower gaps. You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC-002 Human Resource Management. Course Coordinator Professor Nayantara Padhi from School of Management Studies IGNOU. Voiceover by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.